Hello, this is the review from the second round. Actually, it's the same game which Stephanie reviewed on the demo board just before the closing ceremony. Yeah, so here we've got so far everything normal. This move what black played, it's also fine. It gives black less points, but there are also less weaknesses in black's shape, comparing with normal variation. Here in this situation, I feel like there was like some order mistake from both players. Yeah, white played this exchange, it is a ladder breaker. So this was played first, and then suddenly white didn't want to cut here and kill black's stone in a ladder. It's actually a surprise for me. Like, this is basically, I feel like this is the reason why white played this exchange, is to have the ladder so that, yeah, black dies. And then suddenly, instead of playing this move, white simply blocked. And then, yeah, black captured the stone, and this is the game. So I feel like this exchange is not so useful in this case for white. And usually, not to have this possibility, I think black can try to resist while playing this move now. So that if white comes back and black plays here, now there is already this exchange. So if white cuts, like, black just captures. There is no time for white to play here to squeeze black on the second line. And if white captures, like getting Ponuki strong shape, but after this move, black can also play here. Black also gets a good shape. So now this exchange, this A for B, it's a very bad exchange for white. This is the timing actually for black to play this move. Yeah, and if white plays here, then black can play like this. So if white cuts, then we get the same situation which was played in the game. And if white connects the shape, then black can simply play here on the second line. Like this, yeah, it looks like white gets a nice shape. But on the other hand, it's not really this direction. Like here white played quite high and here black goes lower. So this lower side, it doesn't really match well for white, and white still needs some move on the left to really protect on shape. Like white should still play something there to get some help for these stones. This was the game. Now black played here and white didn't squeeze, white just played from the outside. Now black made some exchanges to get just some group in the center, which will be alive, so white will not have any bigger potential there. So this was the game. Here white played some unusual move. It looks like white plays here on the fourth line, so it gives more power for white for attacking this group in the center. Just if black makes life with this group, if black survives, so that white cannot really attack black well, then this move, comparing with the common one, with this one, it's a little bit worse, because then at some point after black gets stronger with own group here in the center, black might play from this side, and later there is a very nice follow-up for black. It's possible to cut. So at some point maybe white will need to come back this way. It would be very painful, right? Because if we reverse the order, it's like white plays here, black here, white here. Of course, if we are looking on the center, it might be a bad exchange for black. If white is able to play here on the fourth line, if white can really do some damage for black in the center. But if it's not possible to do something really severe, then this exchange, A for B, I think it should be a very interesting exchange for black. So here it actually, I think before choosing which one to play, it would be good to think what black can do to make this group stronger. I think black could play several center moves here to make this group stronger, so if I was white, I think I would rather choose this move on the third line anyway. Yeah, after this, black played here these exchanges, then black played here to make this group a little bit stronger. So now it's hard to attack this group, so this is painful weakness. For the future, black might play there, so black later did. Yeah, and in the game, and now white played here on the right. So here we've got this exchange, kick, white answered, and black played here on the third line. Why playing there? Basically the reason is that white will not be able to make a base, and the second reason is to protect Sansan. This is the reason of playing here on the third line, so that black protects the Sansan. Later in the game, white played this exchange, played Sansan, and I have no idea why, but black didn't cut. This is the reason of having this move here, so that if white cuts afterwards, black can simply connect. It's super easy for black. White is actually in a horrible position, because yeah, the corner, white cannot do much, and black keeps this group connected. So this Sansan is an overplay actually for white, now if black is able to connect underneath. And this like situation went really weird. White played Sansan and black connected, and now white was able to survive in the corner. It's like strange. Both players, like, I didn't understand why they played like this. Actually, normally in this shape, after this exchange, for white is more interesting to connect, just to keep everything safe, yeah, because the Sansan doesn't work. So usually white simply connects, two groups connected, right? Because now if we're looking on this shape, now white has two groups, so what to do? Connect. So usually white plays like this and then simply connects to make one group from two groups. But in the game, white played Sansan, and now of course black should just cut, but black connected, and now white made life in the corner. It looks like white is quite light. White can sacrifice each of these three groups, and even if white sacrifices everything, still it might be not so big for black, because where is black's territory? Like suddenly black doesn't really have many places to get territory. White has two here, and black just one. So yeah, I think white gets quite nice result so far. Yeah, and after this move, white just protected. Yeah, he had these stones, so yeah, it would be more difficult for black to attack them. And now black played this exchange. It's very painful, I think, for white just to come back, but hard to do anything else. If white kicks after this move, let's say black answers, all the time there is a possibility for black to play here. Like, let's say white plays something there in the corner, all the time black might be able to play like this and get some nice moves on the left. Just played a simple move, simple descent on the third line, and then black played here all these moves. White played the schema, then black played in the center, and here white played some unusual move, a capping move. Normally these kind of moves are used for some attack, so that black needs to think what to do. It's like not so clear for black, like if black should play one more move, maybe Tenuki, or maybe doing some complications what black did in the game. Just I feel like that black has big enough space there to make life. I think it's very difficult for white to attack black, and I think actually black can consider playing Tenuki. On the other hand, if we're looking on this white shape, normally there is a weakness with this cut, but in this situation white has some extra stone. Like this, when white has some help, it's not so easy for black to cut this shape. Like normally to keep this shape like completely fixed, white doesn't have a stone in this spot, but in this spot. If white already had this shape in the corner, for example, like there is this shape like this, and then there is white's turn, white usually plays like two space extension, something like this or something like this. This is like a common move. But if there is this white stone one line further, the common follow-up for black is to play here. Not to cut immediately, but to play in the middle. So that while playing this move, black makes this cut available. Black basically spoils white shape, and this move creates this weakness here in this spot. What weakness? It's like if white plays something different, later it's possible to cut, and later, instead of cutting immediately, which doesn't work, it's possible for black to play here on the second line. It's hard for white to resist. If white plays something like this, black can cut here, and then some problems. If white plays like this, black can play this way. All the time, some problems for white. A move to spoil white's shape is this one. Not cutting, not even this one, because like this white just connects, black might have some problems with own shape anyway. Usually this is the move. At this point, black can think about playing Tenuki. Black has a choice of just leaving the situation, doesn't necessarily need to cut. Coming back to the game, black could just play in the middle to try to spoil white's shape. But this is what happened, and here it just didn't work for black. Yeah, I think it's a good result for white. Just, I feel like it's possible to get even a bit better result. What if white plays one more push? Black cannot cut in the same way, because like this black dies. Black will need to extend, and now white doesn't need to come back. White has more liberties than black. So white can think about playing in the center. Like this, black cannot cut white. White killed these 3 stones, and yeah, this will be center move for black, but besides this one, black doesn't get anything. All the time after like this kind of move, still is possible for white to try to play, for example, this attachment. So it's very difficult for black to even attack all these stones on the right. Also, when white connects the shape, now white has actually several stones extra. It's some bonus for white around. So this black's group on the left, it starts to be much weaker than it used to be. So in this case, this capping move, it might give some possibility of attack. Still, I feel like it will be difficult to kill, but it should be already much easier to attack when white has these moves around than before. Black's cutting here, it was, I think, just a failure, but let's see what happened afterwards. So after these moves, white just came back, and like this, black decided to cut. So these were the exchanges. Now black played in the spot to keep this group connected and still having some center moves around. So white played this exchange, okay, then these exchanges were played. Ladder works well for black, but white, yeah, just sacrificed these 4 stones and took some kind of small wall for the outside. I think it's difficult to really play anything different for white in this position. It's like kind of one-way option, I think. Okay, after these exchanges, suddenly white is separated. This is the difference between this situation when white doesn't come back, but white plays this exchange first and comes back then, like this. And if we compare it, the main difference is that white is separated. So like you will see that later black could attack this white's group. So this was actually quite important that white was separated, white wasn't connected. Okay, so in the game, then black played this exchange and black started some attack. White played some exchange, and then black played also some exchange and black came back. Actually, white's shape suddenly starts to look not so nice. White plays here these exchanges, later white plays something like this. Just this shape is like, here black makes white to like come back, so that white needs to play like some slow answer kind of. It might be possible for black to do some problems in the future, because this is generally going to be center move, so later it's possible to play a vital point. Like this white shape, it doesn't look nice. And like one thing is this part of the board, that it doesn't look nice, and second thing is this part, that it's not so perfect either. Because like this, black still has some center moves. It might be still possible for black to push, for example, this way. Okay, white can answer here, but black still has some possibilities of doing problems. Like it's difficult for white to answer this way, because later again similar situation with these 2 stones, so that black can somehow break through. And because of this, I feel like it would be good to play here first, so that black cannot make this attachment. And now white starts to be ahead of black. White starts to control kind of this situation. So if black responds, white responds as well. White is the leader. Now white controls this, what's going on. White is faster than black, and white controls the game. If black cuts, white can actually play from this side, so that black will get some more influence in the center, but it will be much easier for white to play anything on the right. So it might be also not so like interesting for black, because if white suddenly moves on the right side, then black also starts to have some problems with this group. Yeah, but in the game white played here, and now it's a good timing. Black played this exchange, so now yeah, white's shape starts to look not so nice. Then black answered. Yeah, white played also this exchange, and then white played from the other side. Yeah, so white already starts to struggle with making life, I feel like, with this big group. Black made some exchange to keep these 2 groups connected, this one with this one. And still black plays in the center not to die with these 2 stones. Okay, so we've got several exchanges. Now, after all these moves, white came back. So this move is like dumb move, but white should play something there not to die. And like from here it might start to look a bit painful for white, this situation. So black played here some attachments, later black played here some center moves, black captured the stone in center. I think it's quite like nice way of reducing white's points. Later this was also center for black. Then black started to take out some white's possibility of making base in this area. It's just I feel like it was not so good timing, because anyway this was a vital point for black, and now suddenly black played here. It's like one move next to vital point, so it's not so interesting for black. Here these two stones don't really matter, so I think it was possible to do much more for black than what actually black did. But let's come back a little bit. Like here in this position, when black decided to cut, I think it was possible for white to try to resist a little bit. Here we can assume that black can spoil this white shape while playing in this spot. So after this cutting, I feel like it would be interesting for white to do some sacrifice. White can think about connecting here. So then if black plays similar moves like this, I think white doesn't need to connect underneath, and instead white can just take the stone. So that for now, if black doesn't play anything in the lower right corner, white can connect and white makes life, because this move here on the first line is center for white. So black will need to play something there, and still there is a weakness. Still might be possible to play ko. Or if black plays something like this, white might play another kind of ko. So all the time there is weakness. Black doesn't kill all this group. Black cannot. So black would play probably something like this. And because of getting this stone, white gets one thing, a lot of strength. Second thing, white gets center. And now the strength is very helpful that one thing, white doesn't need to worry that much about own group in the center. And the next thing is that suddenly white might be able to attack everything what is in the center. White might be able to attack this group, white might be able to attack this group, and white also might be able to attack this group. So suddenly if white just plays something simple, like let's say white just separates, so that black needs to come back, not to die with these stones. Let's say black would play something to make life with this group, then the other stones are separated. Like here I think white can do quite many things. I think white can really do many problems for black. Should be possible to cut, kill something there. Yeah, so because of this I think it's possible for white to get a little bit more. I think it's possible to connect, and like this white gets a bit less points. Yeah, if white decided to play the same. White also doesn't take a liberty from these two black stones, so it's like less points, and also this liberty extra for black. Yeah, and next thing is that it's not possible actually for white to play like in the same way what was played here. Like still there are some weaknesses after black plays here, still there are some weaknesses, but in the other situation it was a little bit more interesting for white. In the game, this is what happened. Now black played here these exchanges and black played like this. Actually, I'm also wondering, what if black plays from this side? Like here black can also cut. Like if white plays this way, it's quite simple. Black cuts, now white has two weak groups, something should die. And if white plays like this, here black can also try to resist. So after connection, black can connect as well. White cannot really play this way because there is a weakness here, so white will need to play like this, not to be short with liberties. Then if white plays something like this, black can cut as well, and after this move it's possible to play Hane. White cannot cut because of this one. If white plays just this move, black already escaped. After this move it starts to be quite a difficult situation. I don't really know what to play for white. Yeah, I think black can get quite big center in this case. Yeah, but in the game black played here instead of either cutting here or playing this like move to like try to play vital point. Possible to first make this exchange and then play something like this. Black played like this, white now played this exchange so that this move doesn't work anymore. Not possible to try to cut all the center. And now I don't understand why, but white decided to escape with these two stones. I don't see much sense of playing there, because it's just two stones. Everything is alive from black. This is alive, this is alive. So why escaping? It's just two stones. a few points. And instead of playing there, like white could just, for example, try to make some ice around. Like, doesn't really matter where, or protecting anyway this cutting point while playing some moves around, or maybe getting some other move like this, so that it's later easier to make some ice with this group. And this escape with these 2 stones, it doesn't really give anything. It actually even takes away white's possibility of making ice, because now suddenly black was able to play this kind of exchange in center. Okay, later black to gote, but this move also makes some weakness here later. Let's say white ignores. At some point black might think about playing this kind of exchange and later playing something like this. So all the time there is some agi. So I really don't understand why white escaped with these 2 stones. So yeah, in the game later white played some exchanges, later this one, and later I feel like next misread from white. So white played this exchange and later just came back. So black killed all this right side. Yeah, just not necessary to play this Hane. It didn't work in the game. So I think this one was actually the losing move, the main mistake of the game, to escape with these 2 stones. And after this one was kind of game over, so that black just took the victory. Later, however, there was still some possibility. So let's see what happened later. It looks like it was just endgame, but at some point there was some interesting situation. Now, white played this empty triangle. So white takes away some points, it's basically reducing black's potential, and now black played tenuki, which white could use in this very moment. White played this one. I think it's very nice plan, but not this order. Now black played here on the first line, and suddenly white couldn't do anything. But if white starts with this move, black connects, this will be center, black answers, and now white plays here. It's possible to do, I think, ko, if I read this well. So if black comes back, white is able to play here. After this move, white can play this tesuji. So black cannot play Hane, black cannot take away white's liberty, because otherwise there would be a ko. And if black plays this move, then white can connect. So suddenly white has more liberty than black. So at some point black would need to play some ko. For example, black could think about playing something like this, so that black takes away this white's liberty, but like this white has a possibility of making ko. In this situation, anyway, black has some ko threats. Black might think about playing ko threat here, ko threat here. Black has very big ko threats, white not really, but still, it's a ko, so there is some possibility to do some problems for black. And I think black should just come back after this move. It's just simple, black is ahead, black can come back, should be fine. But after this exchange, if white plays here, this game could finish, could end in another way. So like this, possible to do many problems actually for black. But after this exchange, now suddenly I think it's already a game over. Here there could be also another ko, but this kind of ko, first thing, black has many ko threats, and second thing, black is already connected. So if at some point white kills this stone, white cannot kill all this group, because if black ignores again, then after this kind of sequence, still is possible for black to play here. So after capturing, black will anyway kill something, either all this group or something like this. Black will be able to play center moves, so black will be able to connect this group. So this kind of ko, is not so scary for black to lose, because still black cannot die with this group anymore. So at the end, white just connected and black played here, and then we've got just endgame. So black won the game. Here there were a few more endgame moves. Actually I think there was not much going on afterwards. So there was just endgame. Okay, so thank you for attention and see you at the next review. Bye.